The Gulf War. Following the conclusion of the war against Iran, Saddam Hussein, leader of the nation of Iraq, had consolidated its control of the region. Due to massive loans which had supported Iraq's military campaign, Iraq lay in an overwhelming debt. Largest of the conditions which held Iraqi debt was the small Gulf stretch of Kuwait. Hussein, with the significance of Iraqi power in the Middle East, believed that any such hostile action would be met by passivity and inaction. With that belief in mind, Saddam Hussein mounted an invasion of Kuwait in order to erase Iraq's debt and seize the considerable Kuwait oil reserves. Claiming Kuwait to be a province of Iraq, Hussein marched into the region on the 2nd of August, 1990. 14 members of the Arab League disagreed with Iraq's act of aggression. King Fahd of Saudi Arabia, with Kuwait's government, turned to the United States and NATO for help. Saudi Arabia also turned help from Osama bin Laden, before accepting help from the U.S. This angered bin Laden. On August 3rd, the UN Security Council called for Iraq to retreat from Kuwait. On August 6th, Fahd met with Secretary of Defense Richard Cheney to request U.S. military aid. And on August 8th, Iraq annexed Kuwait, and the first of the U.S. planes arrived in Saudi Arabia for Operation Desert Shield. Accompanied by troops allied with NATO, Hussein declared on a jihad, or holy war, against the coalition. November 29th, 1990, the UN Security Council authorized means of force against Kuwait. If Iraq did not withdraw by January 15th, they did not comply. On January 17, 1991, a massive U.S. airstrike took place called Operation Desert Storm. It targeted communication networks, weapon plants, oil refineries, and more. The Iraqi Air Force was destroyed early on. Operation Desert Saber took place on February 24th. Troops charged from Saudi Arabia into Kuwait and southern Iraq. Coalition forces liberated Kuwait. The Iraqi Republican stood against the coalition south of al-Bashran, but were defeated by February 27th. Bush declared a ceasefire on February 28th, ending the Persian Gulf War. Hussein accepted peace terms that stated Iraq would recognize Kuwait's sovereignty and get rid of all its weapons of destruction. The Iraqi forces lost 8,000 to 10,000 forces, in comparison to 300 allied NATO troops. In 2002, President George W. Bush supported a new UN resolution that wanted the return of weapon inspectors in Iraq, and UN inspectors entered Iraq in November. He also issued an ultimatum on March 17, 2003, demanding that Hussein be removed from power and leave within 48 hours. He threatened war. This led to the Second Gulf War, the Iraq War.